Welcome back to Morgan's video blog, Morgan's online blog in video format. Today I'm here to talk about if you're not making progress, it might be time to change direction. So there was an inauguration yesterday. The United States of America swore in a new president. But this is a writing blog, so let's talk about writing instead. So I may have complained maybe a smidge about how my space fantasy story that I started during NaNoWriMo back in November went off the rails, and I wasn't sure where it was going, or at least how it's going to get from here to there. I may have been getting my words in, but I have been struggling to advance the plot. This weekend, I took a drive, I thought about my story, and I realized the problem. When a story is fighting you, the problem just might be that you're going in the wrong direction. Sometimes you're writing the wrong story. So let's take a step back and talk about the types of stories. We are all familiar with the different types of stories, even if you haven't studied them or memorized a list. While different people split them up differently, let's go with this subset of different categories of stories. Or at least this is how my brain works. First, human versus human. Someone is standing in your way, blocking you from reaching your goals. Secondly, human versus nature, a survival tale. Third type of story, human versus machine. Technology at whatever level may be your undoing. Fourth, human versus fate. Can you fight the gods and or destiny? 5, humans versus society. This is where you're fighting the man or the system, the government, the corporation, what have you. And finally, number 6 for this list, human versus self, when you really are your own worst enemy. So let's talk about what I was doing wrong with my type of story. For me, I typically write human versus society stories where the problem is social expectations or friendship or a corrupt government, that sort of thing. That's my, for lack of a better term, comfort zone, which is a bit silly for people who know me because in my personal life, I'm the sort that is comfortable being a cog in the wheel. I can rationalize a lot, and I typically go along with authority unless I have a clear reason to fight back, which doesn't happen often. Remember that rationalization thing? Anyway, with my space fantasy, I was trying to base the story structure on classic fairy tales while still having the enemy be a nebulous corporation, or at least a debt to them. It was getting wiggly. But fairy tales thrive on conflict. Okay, well, all stories do, but fairy tales thrive specifically on interpersonal conflict. There I was, driving down that tree-lined highway out toward the mountains, thinking about my story and how to get from where it was to the ending I needed, when the solution dawned on me. Bum, bum, bum. I need an enemy, one close at hand, with motivations and reasons all their own. And I knew exactly who it was who I'd been trying to reform from the fairy tale format since the very beginning. That was my mistake. Not all antagonists can be swayed to the side of the main character. Some are just in it for themselves. Now, I've attended panels and I've read plenty of stories with villains before, but I've never written one. Let's see how this turns out. Oh, wish me luck. Have you ever had a story that you were going down the wrong path? How did you sort out how to fix it? And was it something you read? Just, I'm very curious. And what about stories that you've read? Are there any stories that you thought were going to be one genre or one type of story in the 6 that I listed above, and then it ended up being another type? Did you like that twist? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you for watching, and tune in again next week for more writing tips and writerly musings. Bye-bye.